This Morning. I'm Sarah Colvin, and I'm very pleased to welcome live in studio for the first time on Barnstable This Morning our brand new County Administrator, Jack Yunits. Jack,
it's
good morning.
Great to be here, Sarah.
Thank you so much
me.
for coming in. So you come to us, Jack, from the City of Brockton,
Right.
where you served as mayor for many years. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
It's really a simple story. I got involved in politics. I was a trial lawyer for 16 years, and I got involved in politics almost by draft in 1995 when a group of businessmen and political leaders came to me and asked me to run. So I ran for mayor of Brockton. Didn't know anything about what I was doing, and just knocked on about 7,000 doors and got elected.
Wow.
So the rest was history. We had 10 pretty good years. When I got elected, Brockton was called the Beirut of America.
Oh my.
So that gives you an idea of how bad we had fallen. When we came out of it, we were ranked third in Money Magazine in the highest increase in property values, behind Malibu Beach, I believe it was, in Barnstable County.
Wow.
So it was a great run.
There we go.
And then I went back into private practice again for the next 10 years. Recently, last summer, in fact, I got a call about this position in the county. I had been kind of edging to get back into public service. I was thinking about judgeships. I was just wanted to be back into public service. So the timing was right. I applied, and by the grace of God, 3 county commissioners thought I would do a good job, and they brought me along. So I hope I never let them down.
Excellent. So tell me a little bit, I mean, obviously, you know, Brockton is not without its challenges, and
Right.
as you mentioned, you know, kind of being able to bring back some of those property values. Can you give me some other examples of maybe successes that you had in dealing with some of the challenges in Brockton?
The single most important thing that we had to undertake when I got elected, we had 400 abandoned buildings downtown. So we had to do back of the envelope planning almost overnight to figure out how to get the downtown economy going, how to take care of all this blight. Blight begets blight. So we had to get rid of, I think we took down about 200 or 300 buildings in the first 2 years. And then what we tried to do is focus on schools, because if you haven't got a good school system, you will not have a middle class. And if you do not have a middle class, you don't have a viable community. You need a middle class. You need a strong middle class. And so to do that, we had to focus big time on schools. And by the time it was over, we had rehabbed every school. We had rid the schools of asbestos. They were all handicapped accessible. We built 5 new schools. We also rebuilt our library, our downtown library. We built the senior center, stadiums, DPW facilities. It was really a boom time for Brockton. And it was because we had some great public agencies that really hadn't been running up to snuff because nobody had asked them to. And when we got it together, we were all on the same team. We were able to accomplish so much by commingling assets, revenues, grant applications. We had a great grant team that I modeled after this grant team down here. My chief of staff, in fact, was the DHCD supervisor of your grant team, the RDO over at Barnstable County. So we modeled it after that when she came to work for me.
Wonderful.
And it brought in millions and millions of dollars worth of grants every year. So it was a great period of time, and hopefully I can do some of that here.
Great. So let's talk about Barnstable County. I think we've heard a lot of the news lately about some
Yep.
troubles, a little bit of
Yep.
financial issues,
Right.
certainly a challenge ahead of you. So tell me a little bit about what you see here in Barnstable County and what kind of short-term and long-term goals are.
Well, I knew what I was getting into when I came into Barnstable County. I knew on the one hand, I was coming to the most beautiful place in America. That makes everything a lot easier. The second thing I knew is that there were some problems. I'm not going to punch the past and talk about the problems right now that already existed, because it doesn't really get you anywhere. We're going to try to fix those. But I did know how bad the budget was. I kept looking in my budget preparations for the interviews to try to find out where the surpluses were, where the reserves were, and I couldn't find them. I thought I was just reading it wrong. It turned out there weren't any. But we have a great finance director in Mary McIsaac, who used to do some work over here in Barnstable, and a great team in the office. Everybody seems to be committed to righting the ship so far. So what we have to do first and foremost is to focus on that budget. How do we build reserves? How do we get a reliable bonding classification again so that we merit a good loan rate? And then when we do that, we can start to get aggressive again at fixing the issues that we should be addressing throughout the county. things like cleaning up the fire academy. I hope someday to be coming before the town council. In fact, Thursday night I'm going to talk to the town council here in Barnstable. I would love to be partners with them and pursue brownfields grants to get that academy site cleaned up as well as the wells around it. It can be done. It's certainly a fixable thing, and there's brownfields money out there for this kind of project.
Sure.
We could, when we get our bonding capacity back, we can help light up Open Cape. We could be the seed, financial seed to get Open Cape out to the business community and out to the markets.
Sure, and when we think about Open Cape, I know that project has been ongoing for so long,
Yeah.
and I think that ties in heavily too with work to bring better jobs for a wider variety of people here if we have that solid data infrastructure.
Yeah, keep in mind, Sarah, that right now the high-tech world doesn't like bricks and mortar. It loves their workers to stay at home, but you cannot stay at home if you're going to drop calls, if you can't Skype reasonably, if you can't access quickly high-speed data. You're going to keep going to Boston and Cambridge. If we could get this, and I'm sure we can, because I've sat down with Steve Johnson, director of Open Cape, a couple times, and I'm just so impressed with Steve. If we can figure out how we can create the partnership to put it out on the street, we're going to have a very viable economy down here. Believe me, that dark fiber is the fastest fiber available, which means that you could have small trading firms stationed on Cape Cod. They won't be flying back to Wall Street. They'll be staying here. You'll have IT people setting up shop here, and they are small firms. They're startup firms. They're not invasive. They don't create traffic, but they bring a lot of wealth to the community, and it helps keep our young people here.
Absolutely.
So the medical community will love you if you can bring high-speed interactive networks to them because of the huge amounts of data that they have to transfer in a moment's notice.
Absolutely.
Medical records in particular.
And I think the plus there is that we're already so very far along in getting that
it really is close. It's closer than I never dreamed it was this close when I was interviewing for this position, and it's exciting. And the third thing we need to reestablish the economy, the financial status of the county for, is obviously to start to address some of the water and wastewater needs particularly of the businesses on 28, and Cape Cod Commission is doing a great job in putting together some of the affordable housing plans that are out there, but we still need to deal with the septic issues in a responsible fashion so that we're not nitrate loading our estuaries. And those are the kind of things we can do when we have money again, because we could be the seed. In the future, however, this won't be a giveaway like it was in the past. When we go to market from now on, there'll be cost recovery plus on all our bonds. And when we partner, I was talking to the transitional team the other day about, they wanted to know how we could help. And I said, well, there's no more giveaways. You know, I had to look at HAC and say, that was then, this is now. And it's cost recovery plus. We'll work with you, but it's cost recovery plus. We have to be in part of the financial strategy for solving problems.
Absolutely.
Long term. We owe that to the county residents. They just gave us a tax increase, and we're not going to spend it foolishly. Indeed,
and having that strong financial base is important.
It's critically important so that we can operate like the business that we're supposed to be operating under. They say that the focus of business is business and government is people, but you still have to run it like a business if you're going to help the people.
Absolutely.
And that's the attitude we want to have at the county.
Fantastic. Well, Jack, I thank you so much, as always, for coming in and joining us here on Barnstable This Morning, and I look forward to continuing our conversation.
That'd be great, sir. Anytime. Happy to be here.
Thank you so much. Jack Yunits is the new county administrator for Barnstable County, joining us for the first time here on Barnstable This Morning. Going to send you out to look at that beautiful morning view in Kituit. We'll be back with more BTM.